So hello, everyone. And today we're here from the High Vibe Healing Tribe. And we're here today having a discussion about how we talk to our family and friends about this awakening process, this healing journey that we're all on. So I just want to take a few minutes and go through. My name is Shay Sisler, and introduce our other guests that we have here.
Jessica Tier.
Hi, I'm Shahira Galan.
And we all are here from the High Vibe Healing Tribe because we all met during some training, and we've just created this group that has just grown, and we're just having so much fun and learning from each other. It's been an amazing thing for us to be able to do. But what I want to really first talk about today is, I know when I first started this journey, it was very difficult because I would talk to my husband specifically, and he always called my stuff kind of woo-woo stuff, woo-woo, SHID, you know? And I'm like, but it's so powerful. And then there were those people that I would talk to, and they would say, oh, you're doing devil's work, or you're, you know, and so it was really, but for me, I had to kind of question myself too and ask, is this devil's work? Because of all that religious programming that I was still carrying, I questioned it and I wasn't sure. So I had to do a lot of work on that. And, you know, we might get into some of those discussions on how we work through some of that. But through the sessions that I do through QHHT, introspective hypnosis, and now this latest training that we went through, I put together what I call soul therapy or soul regression. And I just use all the tools in my toolbox to help people, whatever it is that they need at the time. And when I do and use my stuff, I have these amazing sessions. And then I come home and I talk to my husband about them. And it got to be where he would start listening. And then he would like, okay, well, that's really interesting. And then so he started opening up more and more to it. So he didn't feel like it was devil's work, right? And so I would share more. And then I would have family and friends. One time I had a sister say to me, oh, Shay, you know, the stuff you say is just way out there. So then I had to learn that, okay, I had to back off. Then when I would go into other sessions, I would get messages from my spirit guides from the higher realms. And I would ask the question, you know, well, how do I wake these people up? How do I make them understand? How do I get them to, you know, be on this journey too? And the message always came back to me, you just need to love them. They're on their own path and they're on their own journey. And love is the way that you're going to connect to them. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned through my journey. So I just want to get some viewpoints from Jessica, Shahira, kind of how you guys work with that. So Shahira, how are you dealing with your family and friends about this information?
Well, first of all, I have to respect the path of everybody. Like everybody comes to this life to do something, they're already doing it. And it's not up to me to say, hey, you should have this kind of information, you should do this, you should do that, you should be awakened. It's not up to me, because who knows what they are here for and what they are learning, what they are clearing for, you know, what their soul going through. It's so, it took me a while to get there. It took me a while, like, you know, when I got this kind of knowledge, I'm like, oh my God, how come not everybody know that this is a life changing, this is enlightenment? But the thing is, it is enlightenment whenever you're ready. It's only enlightenment whenever you are ready, when you are there. And so for me personally, I don't force any kind of knowledge on anybody. I answer question when I'm asked. And this is the way I deal with it. But like when the people have curiosity about something and they ask about it, and I'm like, hey, how about that? And I just, you know, and I just threw some, you know, some information there. And if they are curious to know more, all right, let's have a discussion. And then let's have a session so you can see for yourself. You know, it's always easier to see for yourself than, for somebody else to tell you. You trust yourself, right? And what's better than your soul to be your guide? So I think this is what all therapists, healers, people doing this kind of work and this era, this phase of life that we should look at. We just, we should let it be, because everything is perfect. This is the way I see it. Everything is perfect. Everybody is doing their job on earth. And if their job not to be awakened on this life, it's absolutely fine. And they are doing what they come from, what they come for. And I put myself in service. If I'm benefit for that person, I just share some information if I can. If I cannot, that's absolutely fine.
Beautiful. And thank you. I know when you say that you plant seeds, we're planting seeds all the time. And that's the way that we're going to know when they're ready, because you've planted a seed, and next time they see you, they're going to ask you that question. So that's huge. Just make little comments, feel them out. That's what I do anyway. And it's like, when they're ready, they'll come back, but just kind of fill them out. You can see those that are open. You plant a seed. And if they just kind of look at you with like, that evil look,
what are you talking about?
like,
Yeah,
they're not ready. So
yeah, exactly. And I see that in therapy all the time. Like a person come to me and they say, okay, all my relationships just suck. All the people I've been with, they just mean people. And I'm just want to say, maybe you're the common person in that relationship. So maybe you're doing something wrong. But the thing is, the person has to get there themselves. We have, it's very much the same. You have to get there yourself.
Beautiful. Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. So Jessica, what are some of the ways that you've dealt with that?
Well, I will start off with just saying that I did come from a very Christian background, and I relied on that. I really felt it in my heart. I loved I loved that connection that I had. So I always had a connection that I always felt like was from a higher source. And that got me through a lot. But I will say that it could be a shock to the family, especially mine. I have a pretty big family and friends in the Christian community that when I started talking about these things, it was like taboo. It was just kind of like, shh, no, you're messing with the devil. That's like devil's work. And in the beginning, I struggled with it a little bit because I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I think people are healing through this. This is amazing. And they didn't quite understand that. So I'm like Shahira, like at this point, I don't really speak about any of that with my family unless they are interested or unless it comes up. My brother has had a session and he's like blown away. But again, it's kind of like opening that door, opening those portals that, that shouldn't be open. And I'm going, well, do you know how many, how often that happens? Talk about, drinking, doing drugs, if you have surgeries, there are lots of portals that are open at different times, even depending on, how you're feeling, how your vibration is it low? Are you depressed? Like even that allows certain things to happen, within the body and changes. And so I'm like Shahira though. I just don't say what I do as much to those that I know where that confrontation can be. But I know there's healing in it and I trust that. I just think that, if you're doing some work like this on your own soul and it comes out to a happier place, how can that be evil? That's, but that's my opinion. And I'll continue to do it. And when they're ready, or if they're ready, then they can open that door and experience it. It's definitely not what in their minds, the story that they're telling themselves what this is, So yeah, that's how I deal with it. Same as Shahira.
Well, thank you. And earlier, before we started this conversation today, we were all talking and we were talking about different ways to start our work. And so Shahira gave a great suggestion about starting to offer to our clients things that they understand, maybe just a simple meditation. Or Reiki is pretty simple too. It's pretty basic energy work. And then you can work into the other stuff. But sometimes we have to start small. And even conversation, though, conversation is so healing in itself. I had someone I was going to do a session on recently, and I was having a conversation with them, and I told them what I did, and they were so ready to have the session. So I scheduled the session with them while I was up in Utah the next day. And then that morning I woke up and I had hurt my back. And so I had to cancel the session. And the person texted back to me and they said, just talking with you yesterday really healed a lot. And they said that I'm not feeling near the anxiety or the angst that I was feeling before. So just the conversation is so powerful too. So I'm finding that works a lot of times. So how are you guys finding that in your practices?
Well, I feel like it's the same.
Go ahead, Jessica.
I was just going to say that it feels very similar. A lot of the times I feel like sometimes we just felt like we haven't been heard, and just to have someone listen without judgment or, I mean, I've experienced that with our group as well, just talking about it and there doesn't need to be an answer or advice. It's just allowing that person to be heard. That can be so healing, because a lot of the times everybody wants to either give advice or tell you what you should do or shouldn't do. And I think that blocks that it just blocks people from really just expressing everything that they have in their heart or on their mind, So
yeah. Ladies, part of the work I do is part therapy or internal family system part. And the key word about this, that all parts are welcome and all parts need to be listened to. Like, even addiction is a part, even suicidal thoughts is a part, and they need to express themselves, and they are welcome and they need to listen to. And this is the whole thing, about this kind of part of what I do is just let all this dark part come through, and let's not call them parts, let's not call them dark, let's not call them anything. They just welcome, they are part of you. They just welcome, and let's talk, and let's have a conversation. And part of my sessions are based on conversational hypnosis, which is accessing the subconscious while having a conversation. And we can do this, reprogramming, reframing while you're just having a conversation. That's why conversation is very healing, because you can actually do the healing while you're doing this. And it's very simple. Everybody can have a conversation. Everybody can have a dialogue. Nothing crazy about that. You don't have to go through a process to do that. And that's why it's so healing, just expressing, let these parts come through, express themselves, and let's, do this kind of healings, do this reframing all these thoughts inside while we're doing that. So that's why these conversations are very healing.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I love conversation myself. I know for me, that's what I'm here to do. And I thrive on conversation. And I remember when I was in the corporate world and I had an amazing job. I was a corporate leadership trainer and I flew all over. But I remember telling my sister one day, if I had the perfect job, I could be able to sit down with people and just connect soul to soul and just talk with people from the heart. And look where we are today. That's where we are. We're connecting soul to soul, talking heart to heart with all these people who just need to be heard. And I love the part that you talk, Shahira, about the parts, because a lot of people don't even understand that they have parts, and that part wants to be heard too. So that part that's really angry because, you know, as a little child, they were ignored. Well, let's talk to that part of you that, you know, what is it feeling? And just being able to let that part of them express themselves it's like releasing, and you're releasing that anger and that pent up, you know, emotion. I had a guy the other day, and I just want to share this story, but he had been stuffing everything his whole life into, you know, stuffing down and not speaking. And he said he felt all this pressure in his head. And so when we went in and we were talking to that part, he just started crying. And then the pressure in his head was just really getting intense. And I said, just let it out, just cry, just do whatever. And most men have a really hard time releasing and crying because they feel so vulnerable. But oh my gosh, it's so amazing when you can see, especially men, let go and just release it. And the pressure in the head simply got less and less and less as he cried and released and allowed it to just come out. And there wasn't an hypnosis involved. It was just conversation and allowing that part to talk and speak and release. Well, I appreciate you all being here, and we thank all of you for listening to our conversation today. And we know going forward that all of you are going to benefit from these conversations that we have. And if you feel inclined, please visit us on Facebook at the High Vibe Healing Tribe, and you can reach out to any one of us if you're inclined to have a session of any kind. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.